Welcome to another VeVe Digital Collectibles comic breakdown. I'm Corey from VeVe, and today's Marvel comic gives us the first Silver Age appearance of Prince Namor, aka the Submariner. Before we dive into the history and chat about magical sea horns and sea beasts, let's go over the drop details. Fantastic Four number 4 is scheduled to release on Tuesday, April 11th, and will mint 7,500 editions across the 5 rarities. This comic will have a retail price of 6.99 gems. Published on May 1st of 1962 by the legendary duo of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. This story would see the entry of Namor into the Silver Age of comics. And keep in mind, the first appearance of Namor the Submariner was in Marvel Comics number 1, a comic we have on the platform already. That comic was published 23 years prior to this one in 1939. And for those of you not super hip to how the ages of comics break down, the Silver Age spanned between 1956 and 1970. The Silver Age marked the resurgence of the superhero genre of comics, which later had become very highly regulated, and that's because it was mostly adult readers post-World War II who read these comics as a form of escapism. The shift in readership and popularity during the Silver Age was partly due to the creation of the Comics Code Authority, which was meant to regulate comic content and allow it to target a younger generation. And we can see that coding on the cover of this comic we're talking about today, Fantastic Four number 4. And like we just talked about, the very first appearance of Namor was back in that golden age of comics, which was mostly for adults. This comic established for the Silver Age what Namor was going to be all about. And ingeniously, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby would build on the idea that Namor suffered from amnesia. In comic, they'd established that people were aware of who Namor was. He was a hero who had fought the Axis powers in World War II and had disappeared from the public eye. And Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, would be the one who helps him recover his memory. And from a comic book nerd and sort of historian perspective, this is just a brilliant bit of storytelling because it establishes two things. One, for the readers, where's Namor been for the past 30-something years? And for those characters that exist in their comic universe, they're also saying, where's this guy been? Of course, anyone who is familiar with Prince Namor will understand that him regaining his memory is perhaps not the best thing for humanity. And that's true in this comic as well. He immediately goes to check on his people, finds the destroyed ruins of Atlantis, and immediately decides it's time for retribution. This makes sense because Namor's name in Atlantean means avenging sun. And while I won't ruin the overall story because there's a lot of fun twists and turns in this Silver Age goodness, I will mention that this comic is also the first appearance for the Horn of Proteus. While it would be unnamed in this comic, this Atlantean relic allows the user to summon and control colossal sea monsters and mutates that dwell below the surface. In this comic, it would be utilized to summon Giganto from the depths. But moving forward, this artifact would be utilized to summon other creatures from the underwater realm. Another thing to be excited about with this comic are our VeVe-Exclusive rare and ultra rare covers. These are coming from Alex Saviuk and Rachelle Rosenberg. These two have collaborated on multiple comics on the platform already, and I absolutely love the retro styling and color they achieve together. Let's take a look at all of the rarities, look at the editions being minted, and drool over this artwork. First, the common classic cover is minting 4,500 editions. On this cover, we see Namor making off with Sue Storm. Interestingly, this comic also established that Namor found Sue Storm to be the most beautiful surface woman he'd ever seen. Needless to say, Reed Richards wasn't too happy about that. Next, the uncommon vintage variant is minting 1,687 editions. Namor gets a strong color selection on this cover, and that makes sense given this comic ushers him into the Silver Age. Namor's character design and build evolved over time, but we get to enjoy his cleanly shaven face and trademark haircut, thanks to the Human Torch, who gave Namor a flaming close shave in this comic. The first VeVe-Exclusive cover and rare hero variant is minting 750 editions. This variant cover is just another example of why I like Alex Saviuk's work so much, especially for this era of comics. We're getting clean lines and a modern feel, but he stays very true to the era design and aesthetic of the characters of which he's referencing. Saviuk's confidence and experience as an artist is reflected by his bold, clean lines, and he really sets Rachelle Rachelle Rosenberg up nicely for the ultra rare. Speaking of, the ultra rare vibranium variant is minting 375 editions. Colorist Rachelle Rosenberg does an exceptional job of filling this cover out. The color palette chosen is somewhat simple, and that helps to reinforce the era. The shifting of oranges utilized to render Thing does an outstanding job of creating texture, and overall, this is a beautiful reimagining of an iconic cover. Finally, the secret rare True Believer variant is minting 188 editions. This interior panel pull secret rare highlights both Namor and the Horn of Proteus. Here's the page and panel this is being sourced from. Love this selection, as this panel specifically has Namor talking about how the whole world will soon know the Submariner. And that would be true from both a Marvel Universe and reader perspective. Namor is a character that has survived the test of time with more than 80 years of continued use in comics and beyond. With that being said, best of luck if you decide to go for this one. Until the next breakdown video, keep learning, sharing, and collecting what you love. This is Corey with VeVe, signing off.